Welcome to A and B Horror Movies. I'm Aaron, and I'm very excited today to be joined by Jakob Skrzypa. Jacob, welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
Oh, you're very welcome. I can't wait to chat with you about your new film. I love the title, Vampire Zombies, from space.
The dead have awakened.
There's a lot of strange things happening in your town.
The saucers have landed. And if the bats on strings don't get you, the vampires will.
How the hell does this happen? Just last week, our biggest issue was that guy who jacks off everywhere.
Vampire zombies from space.
You can't shoot these things. You cut them in half, you got two of them. You gotta drive something straight through their heart.
Like a vampire.
Bingo.
Dracula's back with his most dastardly plan yet.
We've already begun to infect the weak humans of Marlowe.
Now, it's up to an unlikely band of heroes to save the world from vampire zombies from space. A new comedy better than Casablanca, Citizen Kane, and all the Minions movies combined. Don't miss your chance to see Vampire Zombies from Space.
I hope you don't expect too much action.
Congratulations. I loved it. I'm a huge fan. It's a 50s satire, sort of pokes fun of the horror movies of the 50s. It's hysterical. It has some scary moments. It's off the charts, man. Congratulations. I can't say enough. I'm a huge fan already, and I've only seen it once.
Well, yeah, thank you so much. We certainly made it for people who are fans of horror and especially some of the classic horror. And as I can tell by your backdrop there, all your horror physical media, you are definitely our target audience. So it means a lot that you liked it. And yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. And before we get into the questions I have, I just want to mention that you are a writer, a producer. You even act in Vampire Zombies from Space. You had some, I think you had one of the best lines in the film. I don't want to give anything away. You're also a director, a producer, and you wrote or co-wrote the screenplay for Vampire Zombies from Space. I'm going to keep saying the title because I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. My first question for you is, how did this film come about? I understand that it perhaps was 10 years in the making. How did you start? How did it start all the way through to where we are today?
Yeah, so this actually was something that began when I was in high school around 2010.
Okay.
I had seen and kind of discovered the Ed Wood films, particularly Plan 9 from Outer Space. And I'm also have been a lifelong Mel Brooks fan. So satire and parody are, kind of first top of mind. And in high school, watching those Ed Wood films, it felt like something that it's like, oh, I could make something that looks like this and it would be about the same quality. And there's enough low-hanging fruit to poke fun at as well. So we just started making it. Like I wrote a script and we started shooting it on like a mini DV camcorder, just, going out on weekends, getting our friends together. And we had shot, I would say, maybe 70% of the film when my cinematographer, which I'll use that loosely, cinematographer, because he was just the guy who owned the camera, he accidentally deleted most of the footage. So that was a blow, especially being, you're in high school, rallying people together, no money, just, on weekends and stuff.
It was just gone.
And
oh my gosh.
yeah, so it kind of sat dormant for a while. And I had lost kind of all copies of the script or anything because I wrote it on like a Windows 98 or something. And me and my current writing partner, Alex Foreman, we were talking about kind of what we want to do now that we're in, university and we're a little bit older. And I found a physical printed copy of that script. And we thought, this will be a fun thing to read and see how we've grown as writers, since high school. And
yeah, of course.
Most of it was very juvenile, but so is the finished film that you watched. So we took that as kind of like the bones, that original script, and then, retweaked it. We, over the course of a year, rewrote it into something a little bit more mature, a little bit, again, mature, I'll use loosely, but rewrote it. And then we brought it to a professor of film in our hometown, Mike Statsko, and he really liked it, and he kind of came in for a third round of writing and helped add some story beats to it. And yeah, then the rest is history. It got made, and now we're touring, and people seem to like it, so that's great. That's what we had hoped for.
Yeah, oh, that's unbelievable. The stars aligned. I think you have created something really special here, and as folks start to see it, I think they're going to agree with me and really love it. Let's see. So once you started filming, at what point did you start to get some horror legends involved, like Lloyd Kaufman, um, Judith O'Dea from Night of the Living Dead? At what point did you start to get excited and generate some excitement and get some folks like that who wanted to be involved with your film?
Well, for me, pretty much from the beginning, I wanted some kind of names in the film, which obviously on a low budget is kind of hard to do, right? And we're a very low budget film. It cost 1 Canadian toonie. And
I know what that means, yes.
Yeah. But we Lloyd is someone who I've known for a little while. I used to do some editing for Trauma, just like freelance back in the day, and I was in his Shakespeare Shitstorm film very briefly. And yeah, so I've always kind of known Lloyd, and I reached out to him, and he was pretty much game. And then Judith, like once we realized we weren't going to be able to get like I don't want to say big names, but more household names, we decided to kind of embrace the idea that, well, we're making this film for the horror community. Let's just focus on like horror kind of icons. And Judith O'Dea, who's Barbara from Night of the Living Dead, is one of the most iconic faces.
Oh, legend status.
Of the
absolutely.
Yeah, of the genre, right? So we reached out to her, and to our delight and surprise, she said yes. Also, I briefly worked for Tim and Eric and David Liebehart, who is one of their regulars. We got him to play Nosferatu in the film. So we have a bunch of fun little cameos and things that'll kind of reward horror fans and people who really know the genre.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing. Now, how closely were you involved with the casting process? So you have the two leads, Jessica Antovsky and Oliver Georgiou.
Yep.
Say that right? What was the casting like to get them? Because the chemistry between the two of them is flawless in the film. Some really funny parts too. I don't want to give anything away, but what was it like getting them to sign on and working with them? I mean, I know you don't have director credit, but how closely did you work with the director and the whole filming production process?
Yeah, Mike, Alex, and myself were kind of an equal three in shaping this whole thing. So we were very involved with casting, and Oliver nailed the audition right away. I don't know if anyone ever told him this, but if he listens to this, he'll hear it. Like pretty much right away, we were all set on Oliver. Like he got it. He's the caricature of like a James Dean, John Travolta in Grease kind of hybrid, like the cool guy, right? And he totally got it. So he blew it out of the park. And then Jessica was actually from Windsor, and at the time, I don't think she had many like actual acting credits, but she had that kind of, for me anyway, that kind of vulnerability that could also be turned into strength, and that's kind of the whole point of that character. Is the movie's set in the 50s. She's kind of, everyone dismisses her, but if you watch the film, she's actually the brains that is kind of like putting everyone in their place, and eventually she takes that power. So it's a tough transition to be able to pull off, and the two of them together just work so well. And I think it's because they both take the craft very seriously. Oliver does a bunch of theater stuff, and like he knows his stuff. And Jessica, even though it was, I think I could be wrong, but I think it was her first feature experience, but she really took it seriously. And the two of them together, I agree, play off very well. But yeah, to answer your question, Mike, Alex, and I were pretty much doing we were the equal three in the casting, and I think all three of us agreed on both of those actors. They're great.
Yes. Oh, excellent choice there. I love the one scene. I want to phrase this in a way that I don't give anything away. It's an intimate scene, fully clothed with an audience, and it's like nothing I've ever seen, and it's hysterical. I also love the moment where I think his character's name is Wayne, right?
Yep.
Oliver plays Wayne, where he's smoking and the cigarettes just seem to multiply until he has a
Yeah.
bunch in his hands and he's
Yeah.
smoking them all. Oh man, it's like it
Yeah,
was
it's a very pro
perfectly
tobacco film.
comedic.
Yeah.
In fact, yeah, you have one of my favorite lines in the film, which is speaking to how what is it, how harmless tobacco can be, but so
Yeah.
deadly at the
Who
same
knew
time.
something as harmless as tobacco could be so lethal? Yeah.
Yes, oh, that's it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. That's so cool.
Well, a
Um,
big thing was trying to make it feel like this movie was actually made in the 50s. So like,
yes.
we have progressed as a society, but often like, I watch a lot of classic films, and if you look back on those films, there's a lot of things that like don't play today and are kind of outdated. And so we wanted
Mhm.
to embrace the humor of that and show like how kind of much further we've come as a society to where we were then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And you present that all in such a really funny and very intelligent way. I love like the bats on strings, and there's one scene when, and I love that the alien aircrafts look so fake, but it's like they're supposed to, right?
Yeah.
It's awesome. So the movie is a lot of fun. I think that's pretty obvious that I'm a fan. What was it like on set? What was it like filming it? Was it as fun as it seems on screen with the final product?
Yeah, I mean, we all had a really good time making it, and we were all very happy to be there. That said, we worked on a very tight schedule with
Mm.
no money, so I think everyone was really happy to be there, and it was a really good time filming. But as kind of one of three key creatives in this, like we were all everybody on that set wore a ton of different hats, right? So
Yes.
things progress so quickly that for me anyway, it was hard to find a time to stop and just really enjoy, because we had to be kind of moving on to the next scene and stuff. But there were moments like the we have Simon Reynolds plays a character called Colonel Talbot, who's like this
Hmm.
big brash Southern military general, and we were all on the floor anytime he delivered a line. Like he just nailed it, like exactly what we wrote in the script. He
Hmm.
brought that so much to life. And yeah,
Yeah.
that in particular, the days with him were hysterical for sure.
Yes. So good in his role. He's perfect in it. I know exactly what you mean. You mentioned that the film is at festivals now. What has it been like at the festivals, and also showing your movie with a live audience and getting their reaction to the film, I guess, in real time? What is that
Yeah,
like?
well, that's honestly been the most rewarding part of this whole journey.
Mhm.
Because when you're making something, it's you against yourself, right? Like I was also one of the editors on the film, so like
Okay.
I maybe wrote this joke, and then we filmed this joke, and then I'm hearing this joke day after day editing it, so it kind of loses all meaning, and you maybe begin to doubt a little bit. But the minute you see it with the crowd and you hear the whole audience just roar with laughter, it makes everything so worthwhile. And what's been particularly fulfilling in this is that no matter what country we're in, it plays. It gets laughs with subtitles, without. Um, and so it's
That's so
very
funny.
nice to know that we've created something that has a little bit of a universal appeal. And I've had people come up at festival. I was in Austria, and a young woman came up to me and she said,
Wow.
like I wanted to see this because I had never seen a black and white film before, so this is interesting. And it like that blew my mind, right? Like that we're kind of bringing people in as
Never. Oh
well.
my gosh. Yeah.
So it's been cool that for the people who love this genre, we're
Hmm.
we're bringing them in because they get all the references, but it's equally accessible to someone who's maybe never even seen a black and white film and just appreciates the contemporary comedy of it.
Yes.
So it's cool to kind of have that crossover. And then we've been so fortunate with juries and festival. Like we've won like 15 awards, been nominated for like 25. So it's
Wow.
really overwhelming to see the support of the film and see that people really like it. And now we're just focused on like, let's get as many eyes on it as possible. And because that's what we made it for.
Yeah.
We made it, grab a beer, sit with a couple friends. It's midnight, throw the movie on, have a laugh. Like it's just meant to be a fun, silly movie that you watch with your friends.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I would love to watch it with an audience, with a group of friends. I actually watched most of it at the gym and I was laughing out loud on the elliptical. So you made my
Nice.
elliptical
Well, that
experience.
is our director, Mike. That was his intention for the film, is that people watch it at the gym exclusively. So I'll let him
Oh,
know.
well, my God,
Yeah, I'll
let
let
him
him know
know.
you.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, what is my next question? Do you have any idea when it will be streaming and if we'll get a physical release?
Um,
Too soon to say?
Ideally, potentially, I should say, streaming as soon as later this year. We're talking with some distributors right now, so potentially that. And I would love to do a physical release. Whether it'll happen, I'm not sure. That's kind of going to depend on the distributor as well. But I would love to do a physical release. So I'm a big collector of physical media, and I want a Blu-ray of my own movie. So
Yes, of
yeah,
course.
I would love to make one.
Well, I hope it happens and count me in if it does. Speaking of a physical release or Blu-ray copy of it, are there any scenes that you loved but had to cut from the final product? Scenes that standalone were absolutely hysterical, but you had to remove them from the final film, and maybe could be deleted scenes on the Blu-ray.
Certainly, we have deleted scenes. We probably cut out at least 3 scenes. But as far as um, really funny stuff, like my main goal as an editor was to not be precious and only put in what's fun. Like if it's not funny,
The good
I gave it the
stuff,
axe because I I don't like comedies that are overstuffed when they maybe are a little too long. Like in my mind, a comedy should be an hour and a half. It's the perfect, and ours is like an hour 38. So I even gave some leniency there. But the original cut that I did came in, I think, at like 210. And I was like, this has to, we got to take some stuff out. But in doing so, we made sure that only the funniest stuff like remained in. So yes, there are deleted scenes and they're fun, like they're worth a laugh, but the real cream of the crop is in the finished film, and that was the goal.
Yes. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I hope it streams very soon and that a lot of folks get to see it. I have one more question for you. As writing the script, sort of one of the masterminds behind that before any filming started to begin, what was it like then? Your character's name was Hanky, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah. You did your homework.
Well,
yeah.
I did do some homework. Yes. What was it like? I don't know, bringing him to life, right? Because writing a screenplay is very different from acting and taking on the role. What was that like, and what were some of the challenges maybe with doing that?
Yeah, for me, I mean that type of character, because my character is really just kind of a caricature of like a really scummy bad person, kind of like
Yeah.
snickery and kind of.
But you play it so well.
Yeah, no, and that's a character like I started by doing some sketch comedy for it was me and my buddy Luke Mitchell. It was called Fun Uncle on YouTube. And that kind of voice and that character was something Luke and I always did back and forth in some way or another, and we just find that type of character funny. So bringing it to life was very easy because it's something we had done, over 30 short films, let's say, in one way or another. Just kind of this weird, I don't know if it's like New Jersey or Italian or like what that accent is, but it really makes us laugh. And it's just kind of the worst character you would see in any movie where there's a pack of greasers. There's always the one guy that's just a total dickhead and he's like scummy and nothing he says is like appropriate. So we just really kind of squeezed all of that into the worst possible person, who, his whole goal is like, let's harass women. Like,
Yes.
yeah. So it's, it's also making fun of like, in a certain era, that type of person would have been the cool guy. And kind of the goal was like showing like, this guy's just an asshole. There's nothing cool about this. And that's kind of what I was speaking to earlier of like what might have flown in the 50s. Obviously, it wouldn't be that deliberate what the characters are saying, but like in the 50s, that would have been looked at as like, oh, what a cool, like macho guy. Whereas now it's like, that guy's just an asshole,
That guy's a jerk. And,
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you sort of poke fun at it too, and we shouldn't joke
Yeah.
About some of the seriousness of it, but you do poke fun at it, and your character works perfectly in the film, I think.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I mean, not that I'm anywhere near Tarantino level, but I always like that Tarantino kind of puts himself in his own movies, even though he's arguably not the best actor, but he exists in his own universe. And I think that's something that I will always
Someone else does that, it comes to mind.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Maybe a
And
little
I think
bit.
that's something I would always do because I enjoy, I would never consider myself an actor, but I really enjoy acting in my own stuff. I don't think I could do like a dramatic role or something like that, but I like existing in my universe in some small capacity. So the 3 or 4 lines I have is the perfect amount of time I think I should be on
Mhm,
screen.
mhm. Yeah, that one, like I said, that one line, you kind of steal the show, man.
Yeah.
When you were writing the script, did you envision yourself being Hanky? This is sort of my last question about
One of the greasers, yes.
that.
Initially, the greasers were going to be myself, my co-writer Alex, and my buddy Luke, who I used to do sketch comedy with. It was kind of the three of us playing, because again, I don't think any of the three of us should be the focus of the film by any means, but I liked that we would kind of exist in this little group of greasers. And actually,
Of
Luke and I
course.
were in a stage production of Grease where we kind of played those characters as well. So it was kind of that was in my mind as well.
Yes, excellent. Let's see. Well, I think you've created something really special here. It's charming, it's funny, nostalgic. Uh, Congratulations again. People have to see your film, and I'm going to leave it at that. Let's see. I talked about physical releases. Would there ever be a sequel? Sort of a fun question. Would you ever turn
Yeah.
down that idea?
Well, I would love to do a sequel. I think the movie, the sequel would be a little bit different in the
Mhm,
approach. I wouldn't go
mhm.
like too into detail on that yet, but
Okay.
it, as this was an example of what a 50s kind of cult movie would be, the sequel might be an example of what like a 70s cult movie would be.
Oh,
That's all I'll say for
cool.
now. But yeah, so it would be
Yeah.
like the fake backstory would be like some film company in the 70s is like, what old
Mhm.
properties do we have that we can mine and like kind of revamp? And they're like, oh, we have this dumb old 50s movie, Vampire Zombies from Space. Great, let's do something with that. So that would kind of be the intent behind the
The,
sequel of
the
like,
premise. Oh,
yeah,
nice.
yeah,
Oh, I love it, man. Count me in. That sounds really
yeah.
cool. Let's see. I have a couple other questions, and I have some horror comedy trivia, which I hope will be fun.
Okay.
What are your favorite horror comedies? Let's say if you had to pick three, what would you say would be at
Ooh,
the top of your
it's a
list?
great
And
question.
I didn't give you this in advance, so
No,
on the spot.
that's a really good question. Um,
Maybe not top, but what are some that
yeah,
come to
yeah, I'll
mind?
throw some other. Certainly, Young Frankenstein
Of course,
is
classic. Hmm.
one of the best, and Mel Brooks' approach to satire is something that I hold close to my heart too, where if you're going to parody something, it should look, sound, feel like that thing. And then
Hmm.
the characters also take themselves really seriously and then let the comedy kind of grow within that. So Young Frankenstein for sure. A more recent one, Psycho Gorman, I think is one of the funniest and
So
best
good.
kind of horror
Yes,
comedies
yes.
in recent memory.
Yeah.
And that was a huge influence too of like because it was much higher budget than ours, but it's still a low budget Canadian film, and they're
Oh, it's
really
fantastic. Yeah.
yeah
I
yeah
love the
um,
banter between the parents, right? When
yeah yeah
there's a one scene where Psycho Gorman says like an eternity of servitude, and the dad says, "Sounds like being married to you,
yeah
Susan."
yeah yeah
It's classic, man.
yeah
And anyway,
yeah.
keep going. I'm sorry, I
Well, and
don't
I
mean to
also
insert
love
this.
in that the whole scene with the like all the alien like overlords or whatever talking about space politics and
Yes, yes,
it's so good.
it's
Steve Kostansky
excellent.
is yeah, he's awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah, so those two are great. Trying to think of other
Gosh,
ones.
like
Those are for sure the
Shaun
two.
Shaun of the Dead comes to
Yeah, I
mind.
like Shaun of the Dead's great. Hot Fuzz, I would say, is
That's
superior.
good
I
too. Yeah.
really like Hot Fuzz.
Um,
Shaun of the Dead is
yep.
also great.
Tucker and Dale. I don't know if you've seen that
Tucker and
yet.
Dale's
Um,
fantastic. Yes, that's it. See, there we go. You can just feed them. Yeah, Tucker and Dale is great.
The
I
Final Girls? Have you seen that where they go back into the 80s
no
slasher film? Oh,
Final
The
Girl.
Final Girls.
I should check that out.
Really funny. Really funny.
Yeah,
Good cast too. Malin Akerman is in it.
nice.
Oh, it's
When did that come
hysterical.
out? Roughly?
Gosh,
Check your collection.
my F's are over there. No, I might have it right here. 2018 maybe.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't heard of that one. I'll check it out. Oh, another great one I should
I've got it
plug.
right here.
I'm
Final
wearing the
Girls.
shirt for Final Girls. Okay.
It's
That-
hysterical. Check it out.
I'm making
Yes,
a note there. But yes, I should
yes.
point out Chainsaws Were Singing is an amazing horror comedy. I met the filmmakers at Fantasia, and they kind of share a similar tone to our film. And I quickly befriended
very
the
cool.
director, Sander. And it's like a musical version of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's great.
You don't have to say anything more.
Yeah,
I've got to check it out. Maybe let's talk afterward. I would love to see that. Like
Yeah.
Anna and the Apocalypse is a fantastic zombie horror Christmas musical. All right, let's see. I don't know if I can think of anything else, so why don't we go right into the horror comedy trivia?
Yep.
I think these are easy, at least I hope. What
This
celebrity?
is where I embarrass myself.
If not, I mean, I'll just give you the answer. What celebrity voiced Gizmo in Gremlins?
Oh, I do know this too, and I'm not going to be able to know it right now. Is it? Oh man,
he's on. Well, I can make it multiple choice. Is it Howie Mandel or Jason Bateman?
Howie Mandel. Yep,
it's Howie Mandel. Yep.
There we go. I just needed that little.
Yes. Okay. So maybe I should have started with an easier one, but the next one is true or false, and I bet you'll know this. Young Frankenstein used props from the Universal Frankenstein movie.
True. Yes.
See, maybe I should have started with that one. What chemical turns people into zombies in the Return of the Living Dead films?
That one I'll say I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Give me some options.
It's trioxin.
Okay.
Maybe that's a hard
trioxin.
Okay. Then. All right. Let's see. What was the original title for Dead Alive? Peter Jackson's film.
Give me some options.
I know only have the answer. Brain Dead or it's Brain Dead.
Okay, Brain Dead.
I couldn't think on the spot.
Brain Dead.
What object gets cursed in Drag Me to Hell?
Oh man, I'm embarrassing myself right now.
It's either a button or a coin.
I actually haven't seen. I've seen all Sam Raimi's other films.
Oh, okay, then fair enough. So, it's a button.
Okay. Maybe this section.
Maybe these aren't so easy. We can edit this out. Let's see. How does Anna in Anna and the Apocalypse decapitate the snowman?
I've never seen that one either.
Oh, you've never seen it? Have you seen Evil Dead 2?
Yes.
I joke. What is the subtitle of Evil Dead 2?
Dead by Dawn?
It is. See?
Yeah.
Okay. Which pro wrestler starred in They Live, John Carpenter's classic?
Rowdy Piper or Rowdy Ronnie Piper?
Yes, Rowdy Piper.
Rowdy Piper.
I remember him.
Okay, I'm redeeming myself. Maybe you don't need that.
Yeah, no, see, here we go. We're on a roll.
Everyone loves an underdog story.
The Monster Squad. Whose diary do the kids read?
Never seen it.
Oh my gosh.
You got to send me a list after of the essentials because I
send
love
you a list of all these.
Yeah,
all these.
I want to watch.
Have you seen Vamp from 1986? Okay, then I'll skip that question. Here's one, and it's the last one. What was unusual about Igor's hump in Young Frankenstein?
Keeps changing sides.
Keeps changing sides.
There we go. The comedy.
Yeah,
if we were to take this back and you make it comedy, I would have it all.
Oh, it's the horror element. Okay. Well,
yeah. Well, I've seen I love horror and I've seen a lot, but maybe maybe not. Now that I'm talking to you, maybe I have some homework to do.
No, I think you did a great job.
I think I got a passing grade, right? I got
I'd say
like 51% at least.
Let's go with a B.
Okay, cool, nice. And send me a list after. I'm always looking for new stuff to check out.
Oh, for sure. The Monster Squad's an 80s classic. If you like the Goonies, it's like the Goonies, but with monsters.
Love it.
So good. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This has been awesome. Congratulations again on Vampire Zombies from Space. Fantastic film. I love it. How can folks find you on social media?
So I'm on Instagram, Jacob Makes Movies, JAKOB. VampireZombiesMovie.com has our list of festivals we're playing. It's Vampire Zombies Movie on Instagram as well. And just if you like the film, please review it on Letterboxd and share it. And we made it for you to see. So it's a fun, goofy, just loving homage to 50s horror and sci-fi. Yeah. And keep me and my co-hosts updated on the release of the film. If we get a physical release or if it's streaming, we'd love to have you on again to discuss at any time. Let's see. Perfect. So of course. Head on over to YouTube if you're watching. Like and subscribe because it helps our channel. And Jacob, again, thank you so much for joining us and good luck with your film. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. Awesome. Bye, everyone.